Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host. As always, you can catch me right here each and every day, Monday through Friday, from 5 to 6 p.m., or whenever I am available. You know what we do here. We talk business, legal, social, finance, whatever affects you in this community we will talk about it without a hesitation or reservation. But most of all, we talk about politics because politics is everything and everything is politics. Sweetheart, if you're listening to me in there, bring me my glasses because I left them in there on the table. Thank you so much. I was rushing, ladies and gentlemen, and went off and left them on the table. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because these eyes are not like they used to be. And I thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Let's get started. And we do talk about everything and everything in on this program. And I've gotten several calls from things to others that I'm looking into. And I always look into things. When people call me, I write the information down. And I look into it. And I looked into some stuff because right now it's getting close to early voting. Folks are just right out lying on each other. And someone called me this morning that I happen to know the truth. I happen to have the receipts, as they say, on this particular situation. I have talked to this individual. I've seen things as it relates to this individual that points to the truth. Well, I got a call from a listener who told me that that was an individual who has a podcast by the name of Bob Winbush. And basically, first of all, let me say this: if he believed anything that Tawana Murphy said, then I think that's a problem with Mr. Winbush. Tawana Murphy, wouldn't know the truth if it ran up and sit on her face. She wouldn't even know that truth. But when I heard this, and the person called me and said, I talked to you about this. You know the situation, but they are trying to paint a narrative. And I found out that Tawanda Murphy was the one that was behind this misnomer. She's out there trying, instead of trying to worry about her own position, she's trying to play power broker like some of these wannabe individuals that don't know up from down, but somehow the people slipped and elected Tawana Murphy to this position. Now, in the short time that she's been in that position, and what you've seen her do and seen the lies that have come out of her mouth, you ought to know better. And if you don't know better, then that would be on you. And the lack of representation that you get if you re-elect her, that would be on you. Like it's on you now, and people wondering who in the world is this woman that seemed to be speaking on behalf of the board, because every time something comes up, it looks like the news meter are putting a mic in front of her face. And see, you don't understand that when some news outlets, not all, they will put a mic in your face to see what your stupid answer is going to be so they can laugh and have a good time. Well, we put the microphone in silly Tawana Murphy's mouth, and she gave us some good news. Not that it was positive, but it was negative, not because it wasn't the truth, it was false. Because when you back check, like I did, on this information and have the receipts and know that the line when she went to this Bob Wimbush, who has a podcast as well. See, I'm the type of person, when I know that you're being played by individual and you're doing the same thing I'm doing here, because I want us to work together. I got the number of Bob Wimbush. I texted him on Facebook and said, I need to talk to you about some information that you're pushing that is not true. I haven't heard back from him, left him my number. I called his cell phone because my source gave me his phone number and his voicemail was full to the capacity. I know I was checking my voicemail the other day. I've been slipping because I've been going here and there trying to take care of business, and I would just happen to be at my manicures. That's right, I go get pedicures because I got to take care of my feet because I'm a diabetic. And so many of you knew that listen to me and know I talk about it from time to time. But one thing a diabetic has to do is to keep his feet healthy. So I go and get the pedicure, get them smoothed up, sleep like a baby at night once I go. But then something told me you haven't checked your voicemail in a while. And when I checked it, it said to me you have 27 voicemail. And then it said to me it's almost full. Well, I've been in conversation with politicians who, at the time, and I think they still do, they have had cell phone that was provided to them by you, the taxpayer. I have called some of them to reach and their voicemail is full. And I asked an individual, I said, man, why is your voicemail full and you're a servant of the people? And the people gave you that phone so they can contact you. And his response to me was, man, I just let it fill up because I get about 200 calls a day. Well, that's what he said. But I cannot deal with all of them. Well, my thing was, Doc, you need to give up the position that the people elected you to because if they call you, you're supposed to answer as a representative. But he said, I let them just call their office. Well, if they call the office, that's fine. But then if you're not going to answer the phone for the people who let you, then you need to get the phone back. So me and him, we talked about that back and forth. I said all that to say that there's a lot of things going on that you are providing for the people, and they're not there for you. But let me get back to this situation here with Bob Wimbush. So when I called him, his telephone, I couldn't leave a voicemail when they told me to leave one. So I called him and texted him. And if somebody out there know who he is, y'all tell him check his voicemail and check his text, because I did both of them. Because I just don't like the things that are being said as it relates to this election and this individual. I know the truth about what's going on, but he's been spilling a falsehood. One thing I used to like about Thaddeus Matthews, God rest his soul, his birthday was on April 1st. I saw that where his daughter and wife had posted that. But one thing we would do, we would collaborate with each other. If he would see something I said, he's will call and say, Jenny, you need to check that. I haven't checked it yet, but check it to make sure that you got receipts on it. Then I would say something, he would say something, and I would say the same thing to him. So behind the scene, we would be checking each other to make sure that what we were saying, we could put our hands on it. But ladies and gentlemen, I could put my hand on the truth because I checked the receipts on what Tawana Murphy is saying to Mr. Bob Winbush, giving him information against what she thought against Sandra Ford, Salandra Ford. I hope I'm not pronouncing her name wrong, but the information that was put out there was just totally wrong. And I'm trying to reach him. And he may not appreciate me calling and telling him the information is wrong what he's telling. And they're attacking her. And let me tell y'all this. I'm going to say it again. She came on this show and she told you what she had accomplished while she was in that office that she's running for. She was in the office, but she got beat by Willie Brooks, who is doing nothing in that office. And reports have come to me by way of people who have been there and know that he hasn't been showing up. But all of a sudden, it's campaign and he's showing up in the office. That's the person that you elected just because he was a county commissioner, not because he was experienced in this office. Not at all. But you put him in there because you played the game, the good old boy situation, and you got somebody in there that haven't done anything but messed around with certain things that was put in place, and he did nothing to enhance it. It's still the same from the time he was elected to right now. Shalandra Ford took this office to the highest level, to the next level. When she went to Nashville and worked on your behalf, went there and talked about to the Senate, the House, in regard to what was going on and how people, crooks, were stealing senior citizen homes and others because they failed to check on their home to find out what was going on. So she went there and talked to them, went beyond the rim of Shelby County, went all the way to Davidson County in Nashville, Tennessee, to talk to the lawmakers to say, listen, I'm seeing some things that are happening to the elderly, to the middle class, and I think there's something need to be done. They listened to her, and I watched her here on C-SPAN on Channel 10. And if you ever want to see what's going on, go to Channel 10. There's 3 channels. Just go one behind the other, and you will see the legislative body in session, and I do it whether it's the Senate or whether it's the House. And by the way, Mark White posted a HR bill that will uh, address some issues as it relates to the first responder. And he said the bill that will address if you assault a first responder, you can end up having to pay $10,000 along with a substantial amount of jail time. Now, if you get out there for any reason and get to the point that you think you have to put your hands on a first responder, then you're stuck on stupid anyway because you can't win a battle like that. Whether it's the police, whether it's the deputy sheriff, whether it's the highway patrol, whether it's the federal government, whether it's state troopers, you can't not win that. Whatever you disagree with them about, you take it to court. You may win, you may not, but you will still be in good shape and not in a situation where you've been beat halfway to death. Not saying that they would do that. Hopefully they wouldn't. We know the Memphis Police Department did that when it comes to Tyree Nichols. But we would hope that the first responders now understand after the death of Tyree Nichols that they can't put their hands on you unless it is in self-defense. And now there's a law for you to understand now. There's a good amount of jail time that you're going to have to serve and pay up to a $10,000 fine. $10,000 on individuals who think they're tough enough to take on the first responders. You don't have $10,000 to do that. So I'm alerting you and letting you know what is taking place and laws that are being passed. Steve Mulroy got problems because when it comes to the assistant DAs and the DAs, they got an awesome responsibility coming to them when they, in essence, dropping a major crime down to a misdemeanor and not showing any cause why you're doing that. And that's Senator Brent Taylor is working on that bill. Uh, Steve Roy didn't agree to it. He ran on the fact that he would do what he's doing as it relates to dropping some of the crime where people who have been arrested before, and then you drop a felony according to the record that they say to some misdemeanor. In other words, the concern that they have in Nashville about the DA here is that he's too soft on crime. Well, they put something in place dealing with that that you will be hearing about real soon. It was posted on Facebook. You know what I'm saying already. But here, Shalanda Ford is doing her job. She's doing the job better than Willie Brooks, who's in there now. You need to return her because her record has been proven of what she's doing while she's there. There's some things that you will find out later on, but don't be caught up in this foolishness that Tawana Murphy is trying to push. And I've offered her many times to come on this program. And let's talk about some of the things that she's saying and things she's not doing as a representative. But I've yet to understand why she hadn't called. And I know why she hadn't called. Because I'm going to ask her about things that have been proven to be true. But here she is pushing this narrative against Miss Ford as it relates to her office when she should be worrying about her own office and whether or not she get back into office. And to me, if the people have any sense, I would say, do not return her to office, nor anybody who sits on that school board, because we have a serious problem. And if we fail to do what everybody is hyped up to say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to get rid of the school board, everybody's hyped up to say that, hey, we think the state is doing a good job, they're going to do a better job than the people who we put in there to do the job and couldn't do it. We see what they did as it relates to the superintendent, former superintendent, and the present superintendent. They playing games. We talked to you about the 1% that the Democrats are harping about. And I told you before, 1% of a crime is a crime, whether it be fraud, whether it be uh, mishandling of funds. It's all a crime. So don't let anyone hoodwink you into believing that, oh, it's just 1%, it doesn't matter. Let me come and take a percentage from you, your taxpayer. Take money from you. Then you will find out that it's wrong for them to do that. But they want to convince you that it's not wrong for the school board to neglect you when it comes to representation. Tawana Murphy, I gave you this opportunity again, and I will be addressing when you come the issue of what you're saying about Shalander Ford. That is not true, and I have the receipts that what you're saying is false. And see, a lie is nothing for an individual to tell. What I've told you since I've been on the radio and things that I put out here, I have the truth and the receipts on it, just like I'm telling you right now in regard to what Tawana Murphy is doing and not minding her own business, but trying to hurt someone else. See, once they get in office, they mean these individuals that you elect in their own way, they want to be power brokers. They come out, they have their own ballot. They go behind your back and talk to candidates and try to get money to be on the ballot, create a ballot. See, the only people that can get away with that, most of them who do it for a living, wait on elections to come, create a ballot and tell candidates, I got a certain amount of people that can get you elected, that they go along with my ballots. And they say that to the masses of individuals who want to get your vote. See, your vote in the black community is very important. Your vote is so important that they have these jackleg individuals out here making money off of you because they have convinced you that, hey, this is my ballot. My ballot get a good portion of the people elected. And that's you. If you white and you want to get some of the black folks, oh, they're going to run to you. Especially if they know you can pay the money. They're going to come to you as if I can get a certain percentage and have numbers in front of you. In the last election, overall, I got 60 to 70% of the people on my ballot elected. So y'all got to understand there's so much going on behind your back. People that look like you and I, and I'm talking to everybody, but especially the black community, you are being played so bad that some of them now on the board are shaking. Some of them who hold positions are shaking. Right now, I tell you, every time we come on, sometime I tell you, I think elected officials need to be drug tested. And I would say that you would be surprised that if they drug test the elected officials, some but not all, people would be running, trying to swallow something to kind of get that marijuana out of your blood system, out of your hair. See, I did probation, and I know how they find out whether it's urine, blood, or your hair sample. They'll check your blood if need be. They can check your urine if need be. They can check your hair. Some kind of way in a certain period of time, if they pop it on you and you've been smoking it, it's going to lay around like a lazy individual who don't want to work. They're going to lay around on you. And when they come back, some of them first thing going to holler, oh, they got that wrong. I want you to test me again. Well, you know you've been smoking, snorting, or whatever you're doing. You know you've been doing it, but all you want to, oh, they got me wrong. They got me wrong. Oh, this is a setup. Saying all of them and telling all those lies and know you've been doing it. I stand strong on the fact that if you test most of our elected officials, some of them, not all of them, let me say that, I would stand 100% to say that some of them will be drug tested, will test positive if they're drug tested. These are the things that's happening behind the scene that they don't want to talk about. And you got individuals out here pushing it because, in my opinion, they want to make it where they can do it openly as opposed to behind closed doors. So I challenge all elected officials, make it mandatory like it was at the sheriff's department, that they can pop screen you every 3 months or every other month. They call you in and have you to tinkle in a cup. I worked there for many years, tinkled in a cup and have no problem with it, but would never tested positive for anything. Not alcohol, marijuana, or any other kind of drug. But we have individuals that want you to be caught up to take that first step to becoming a drug addict. Some would say, oh, no, it won't happen to me. I've seen a lot of people that I've taken to jail on charges of drugs, alcohol, being drunk. Alcohol is legal. You can buy you a bottle of your favorite kind. But then it comes down to the abuse and what happened after the abuse, the neglect of your job, the neglect of your family. If you become a alcoholic, what if you become to drug? Those very things that I just mentioned could likely get you in the same position. But ladies and gentlemen, don't believe the lies that are being perpetrated out here and telling individuals. I would love to have Bob Winbush to come on and we can do a dialogue here. Whether he want to talk about what I'm going to tell him if he ever called me, that he needs to check his receipts because I got the receipts. I know that Tawana Murphy is lying about Shalanda Ford. and what she's putting in narrative that she's pushing out there. And I'm setting the record straight with you. I haven't lied to you. And I'm telling you right now, Miss Shalanda Ford is the best for that office that she was once in, and that is the Register of Deeds. She's running, and it would be a sad state of affairs if we did not put someone back in the office who worked hard for you to make a difference. Or if they steal from you now, your deed or your home, it's a felony. They can serve them big time. Nobody thought to do that before she got in that office and did a great job in that. Those are the people that we need to have in there. Now, another issue that was brought to me, and I'm verifying it. I'm waiting on people to call me back. But they said that Buckner, which is true, did not show up for this East Memphis Democrat. Um, they had this program of the candidates that are running for, for sheriff. He gave another excuse, and they said it's an excuse before the one over at St. Paul Baptist Church, that forum for the sheriff candidates. He was there, but the candidates almost ate Buckner alive. And when they asked the other candidates, all but one, that if they wasn't going to run for office, who would you vote for? And they all said Reginald Hubbard. Remember that name, Reginald Hubbard. But what's been floated out there and what they're saying that's happening, that's out there, and too many people have told me this in regard to it, that is circulating that Buckner campaign is being ran by the Republican Party. We know that Buckner got money posing as a Democrat, and he was elected 2 terms. Buckner seen the same folks that supported Bonner. It's no doubt that Bonner, if you check his finance, it was pretty much coming from the Republican Party. There are a lot of candidates that are getting funds from the other party if they posing as Democrats. They're supposed to be Democrats. Now, it would be a shame that Buckner is calling himself a Democrat, like Floyd Bonner did, but he got more money from Republicans in this situation. Some would believe, oh, it don't matter where the money come, but it matter if they running your campaign and you're supposed to be a Democrat. It matters to that. It matters because judges would say, oh, we're nonpartisan. Why are you nonpartisan? We don't supposed to favor Republican or Democrats or independent. We're nonpartisan. But I guarantee you that most of the judges are getting their money from big business. Now, who are the ones that have the big money, the big contributions? I remember when we used to pull, Patrick Matthew and I used to pull all the statements, and it's hard to get the statements now because they know people are wising up down there at the election commission. They'll tell you, you need to go here, there. And I just usually walk in and say, hey, I'll pay you for whatever amount of sheets up, but give me the financial. But all of a sudden, it's like pulling an eye to trying to get the information. And there's a reason why. If a person has common sense and he knows that a candidate is being paid $1.5 million to run for mayor of this city, that person is going to owe the people who put them in office. So if you look at it, and I call it because I looked when they put it out there, or it must be more money than that. When you look at uh, J.B. Smiley was at the top of the list. Mikhail Lowry, Mal Lowry's son, God rest his soul, good friend of mine. Harold Collins and others with the financial that was getting paid, but Heidi Kuhn was at the almost the bottom of the list. And y'all pay attention to these commercials and the lie. See, when I hear a commercial and somebody tell me that they got 10,000 misdemeanor felonies removed, 10,000 now, since they've been in office. Or did you mean that you submitted 10,000? Because I don't believe being in the system that Heidi Kuhn and all of those expungements that she put forth, everybody, 100%, the way her commercial said, Heidi Kuhn did the expungement of 10,000 people. See, if you got any sense, you know she's lying right then because nothing is 100%. If you did 20,000, you're not going to get 20,000 people that you submit to have their record removed or expunged. It's not going to be 20,000. May not even be 15,000. May not be 10,000 that she's claiming. But if she submitted it, not all of that 10,000 was expunged. That's just it. Because I know that for sure. But these people are lying to you. You got to pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, of what they're saying to you and how people like Tawana Murphy will get another podcaster who had the follower and they listen to him and they say, what? She did what? Whatever they're pushing, and I can't speak to it, but there'll come a time that we'll be able to speak to it. And when they do, if you believe that and you did not elect her, then you're going to look like egg on your face because the lie that they told you to change your mind about will be proven that it's correct. And then you'll say, oh, I made a mistake. Believe me, Jennings Bernard will not tell you something but for not verifying it, excuse me. No, I'm going to verify what I'm going to tell you. I'm telling you, like I said on my post, if you woke up this morning and you're not better than you was yesterday, you're still stuck on stupid. Because God gives you the mindset to make you want to be better than what you were yesterday. But if you do this foolishness in this election and you put these people back in office where you already got proof by way of the forensic audit that they have not been truthful, whether it's 1% or 50%, the bottom line, they have not been truthful. to you as citizen, to me as a citizen and taxpayer. It's nothing for them to tell you truth, not to tell you the truth. It's comfortable with them lying to you because they can't tell you the truth of what they didn't do. So what they do, they lie to you. They have you to believe that they're special. They can stand on the stage, stand in front of you and your family and lie to you. Go home smiling and brag about how they lied to you when they get reelected. The proof has been given to you by way of the forensic audit. Yes, I'm in favor of an oversight committee because when there was no oversight committee, look at what you did. You stole, you robbed, you played for nepotism, favoritism. All of that is in the 1%. And what do you think if it's in the 25%? What do you think you're going to be in the 75%? You think they just did it one time in the 25%? Or do you think they did it also in the 75% that we have yet to hear about? Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. No one should be stuck and be a follower all the time. Sometimes you have to be a leader. Sometimes you have to stand and not accept everything that they give you. You have to stand for the truth. And this is important when it comes to this election. The day is the 8th. Tomorrow will be the 9th. Friday will be the 10th. Then Saturday, 11th, 12th. And then next week, on the 15th, start the early voting. You need to talk to everybody that's in your household that's able to vote, that's registered. And after this election is over, if they're able to vote, you ought to make it your business in that household to say to them and explain to them why they must vote, why it's important to them to vote. Or if they come to you, Mama, what we got to eat? Tell them if you register, can you vote? And then if you can't vote, I ain't got nothing for you to eat. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do if they stand in your household. But I never had that problem because as long as they could, for they could remember, my boys were taught by me and their mother to make sure that you, when you become of age, that you vote. And one of my proudest moments was when my oldest son called me because his car had broke down on the expressway. And he thought that he would not be able to get to the poll because it was close to closing time. And I told him, don't worry. I jumped in my car, went and got him to the poll for him to vote. And he said, thanks, Daddy. I appreciate it. So now I appreciate what you was taught a long time ago, that it was so important for you to vote, that you was upset thinking that you were taking care of other business, that you almost didn't get an opportunity to vote. I used to tell them I haven't missed. Even when I was in the Marine Corps, I haven't missed because I was taught that the best thing you could do, is to vote. And you can do the same. We can turn around the troubles that we have in Memphis if we come together. I saw somewhere a bunch of people had took a picture and they said unity in our community. And I remember time that it was unity in the black community, in the community as a whole. I've seen things where black, Jewish, white all walk together in protests, and blacks in protests of the lack of civil rights. Oh, that was unity. That was togetherness at that time. I lived through the civil rights movement. I was a part of the civil rights movement as a pastor because our presiding elder made sure that every pastor on this church connectional part did what they needed to do to have a unified church, to have a unified community. But we're not doing that anymore as pastors. We are playing games. I walked into the Baptist Community Preachers Association, and I heard people talk about, well, we going to vote as a unit as Capitals, and we going to vote for Heidi Klum. And they did that. They turned against their own people. They did that. And I wouldn't believe anything at all as it relates to some of these fraternities, sororities, and some of these associations. They're all out for themselves. But I want you to remember what I told you to hear today. I want you to think about it, and I'm going to continue to talk to you about it. There are people who had courage enough to come on this show and talk to you and tell you, Reverend Dr. Frederick Tappan, who's running for School Board District 6. We had Brother Gerald Green running for the School Board District 7. We had Shalanda Ford who's coming here running to get back in the seat of Register of Deeds. We had Brother Reginald Hubbard who come in here with credentials that outweigh Buckner 10%, about 10% or more. You heard him. And if you want to hear him, go back to my page. If you want to hear these candidates that I'm talking about that came in here and sat in this studio to talk to you, they wasn't afraid to come in here. Couldn't nobody tell them not to come in here like they're telling others. And for that, you ought to give them your vote. We need to shake up the sheriff's department because what has been happening in the last 8 years at the sheriff's department is a shame. And for all of those people who lost loved ones in that 201 Poplar, you ought to gather everybody that you can in your neighborhood and tell them, my son was beaten to death in that jail. My son died in that jail for the like thereof. And you alone need to rally your community to send a message that we want new leadership. Buckner was the chief deputy. They couldn't figure it out. But I tell you, Reginald Hubbard, the man that I sit here and talk to on camera and off camera, will make a difference because he has the qualification to do that. So go down my page and look at the people who came in here and I interviewed. Those are the people that you need working for you in these very offices, especially the one that I named to you, Shalanda Ford, because we know what she did when she was in that office. It's up to you now. You got to make a decision beginning April 15th. I'm Jennings Bernard. You've been listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. As always, I ask you to subscribe and like to this program. Tell your friend to tell their friend to do it. We have the community right now. For every 5,000 listeners that live within Memphis and Shelby County that listen to me, but to those who are outside of the county, in New York, overseas, and you got relatives here in Memphis and Shelby County, you need to call them and say, hey, I listened to this guy tell the truth and shame the devil. They say, oh, yeah, by the way, you're talking about Jennings Bernard. What he's saying and what he's been saying making a whole lot of sense. Cousin, I hope you give consideration to what he's saying. Because Memphis is in a mess. We hear about Memphis all the way in New York City, California, St. Louis. We hearing about it through this program. So it's important that we keep it going. It's important that we turn this city upside down politically and dump all of the trash into the garbage that political garbage can. Because they showed you that they can't run this city. Again, as always, in the words of my grandmother, she used to always say, if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, we'll see you on tomorrow. But remember something I always say, trust everyone, but do not trust the devil inside of them. You've been listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. Jennings Bernard, your host. Have a great evening. Be careful, be safe, and keep your head on a swivel. Take care.